On April 3rd, 1956, an F5 tornado tore through West Michigan.
When I looked into this event, saw that forecast, my jaw just dropped.
What began as a warm April day with temperatures near 80 degrees ended in devastation.
Everybody got up and Dad was gone.
And a day they will never forget.
Initially touching down around 6:30 in Hudsonville, the supercell tracked through Ottawa and Kent counties before lifting near Lakeview around 7:30.
This is my Bible. They found 3.5 miles south of our house.
It was not only the strongest tornado to hit West Michigan, but the strongest tornado in the world that year. Winds were estimated to have reached over 250 miles per hour. The storm sweeping away homes and vehicles along its ruinous 48-mile path. Damage toll, a whopping $10 million, equivalent to $90 million today. Two other tornadoes tore through West Michigan that day, too. An F4 tornado with damage from Saugatuck to Holland, and an F3 tornado that carved a path from Bangor to Lowell. In total, 40 people lost their lives in 3 tornadoes, more than 600 injured. Now, 70 years later, the Hudsonville-Standale tornado remains one of the most powerful reminders that tornadoes can and will happen in Michigan.
Thank you for joining us. I'm Storm Teammate Chief Meteorologist Ellen Baca. 70 years ago, Michigan was indelibly changed. A strong storm that had produced a tornado from Saugatuck up to Holland, hitting mostly farmland, then took direct aim at the Hudsonville community. There are no warnings, there are no sirens, just a weather report from earlier that day and thunderstorms in the distance. No one could have known that a monster F5 tornado was about to totally reshape history. The muck fields that I'm standing next to here in Hudsonville gave the tornado a black appearance as it was destroying homes, carrying away cars, and claiming 17 lives. Tonight, we take you back to that tragic day. We have expert analysis, a look at storm track, population change, and what would happen if a storm of this magnitude happened today. We start with meteorologist Blake Harms.
The land still bears scars from April 3rd, 1956. You just have to know where to look.
The older looking trees that were here 70 years ago and that were already old 70 years ago.
We are at Van Zoren Woods in Zeeland Township with Ernie Ostuno, a National Weather Service meteorologist whose legacy includes documenting stories from that fateful day.
The stories that I heard from the eyewitnesses, I thought they were really historically important.
But he has learned the land tells stories too.
First step is say, okay, what are the trees that were old enough to have been here in 1956?
It doesn't take long to find some.
And I think if you look at the crown structure there, that might have been a case where this was either damaged or sheared off. And you got those 3 limbs, they were limbs, that turned into vertical trunk of the tree. So that's a potential one there.
Of course, it's nuanced.
I can't say 100% because I don't have any photos of what that tree looked like, but I know it was here, and it does have a certain architecture to it that might suggest the trunk was damaged here. So if you can see, there's a couple trees there that have this noticeable lean. Those could have been, especially that one there.
Next, we travel up the Twister's Path to the intersection of Van Buren and 40th near Hudsonville, where even a ditch holds its own story from that day.
Bert Bosgraff was lifted out of the ditch and blown northeastward through the fields there. And he was injured. They took him to the hospital, but he survived. So a 3-foot ditch and an F5 tornado, extreme times call for extreme measures, and they got in the ditch and survived it.
The tornado's path is perhaps made most visible today by the homes that stand along Van Buren.
You could definitely tell where the tornado hit because the houses are a totally different style. You know, they're brick ranch houses. Then you go down the road a little bit and you see the older white farmhouses that survived the tornado. So it's a pretty stark difference.
And by this tree, photographed in 1956, still standing today.
This tree survived the 56 tornado with just a couple limbs missing.
The muck fields that so closely mirrored the tornado's path as it approached Hudsonville also hold reminders.
One of the farmers that lived down in New Holland, he would find stuff every year, little mementos of, the disaster.
While the reminders have become subtle, the overarching message has not.
There were people in 56, their last words were almost virtually, they don't happen here. So that's what we want to avoid in the future, is the mindset that they don't happen here.
They do happen here. Just ask the land that bore witness to this terrible storm 70 years ago.
I'm sure there's little pieces and particles of that destruction that can still be found.
As we head to break, we take you to this point in the tornado path. We're at 40th and Van Buren in Hudsonville. It's thought to have had the fastest wind speed from the tornado, and what's more, the fastest wind speed reported anywhere on the planet in 1956. We'll be right back. Welcome back to our Storm Teammate special, the Hudsonville-Standale tornado 70 years later. The downtown business district of Standale was especially hit hard by the tornado. Luckily, it was past business hours and the tornado was pretty visible coming in, so a lot of folks had time to take cover. But just being inside your house was not necessarily enough. In fact, 89-year-old Anna Hart was on the second story of her home on Cummings Street when the tornado carried her 200 feet. Unfortunately, she became the first of 4 fatalities in Kent County. So much has changed from then to now. Matt Kirkwood walks us through the tornado path and the population changes since then.
Hello, I'm meteorologist Matt Kirkwood, and look at the image behind me. This is the picture of the only F5 tornado ever to impact West Michigan, and really turned out to be the worst natural disaster in West Michigan's history with 17 fatalities. To think, at one point in time, the strongest winds in the entire world on Earth were happening in Ottawa County on April 3rd, 1956. So I always wondered, what if this tornado happened today? How many more people would be impacted by it, businesses and homes? And let's take a kind of a bird's eye view, some drone footage, if you will. Now, right now, you can see how you have very few homes out there whatsoever. This is kind of the Port Sheldon area as the tornado first started going into the Hudsonville location. Look how many homes and subdivisions are out there now. Kinney, Lake Michigan Drive. Yeah, there's a few businesses out there, but look at it now. Of course, you have Meijer, you have all kinds of restaurants, Starbucks, Chick-fil-A, Panera. And by the way, I wanted to show you this, proof of F5 damage. This is the Oostdorp home, which was basically just swept right off of its foundation. Even the linoleum was peeled away that was glued on. That is definitely F5 damage. You saw M37, which we call Alpine, which is, again, densely populated. You can't go more than 200 feet without having a restaurant or a business there. And just notice how many more homes, churches, and even schools. By the way, Jenison High School would have been right in the mix of that if it was back in 1956. It was built in 1970, so that avoided the disaster. Okay, let's take a look right now at basically the difference in population. It is significant. Standale, Walker, back in 1956, 6.5 thousand people. Now, 26,000 people. That's an increase by 75%. Kent County also experiencing the growth. Keep in mind that tornado not just went through Standale, but also went through the rest of Walker and crossed it. Came very close to the Whitecap Stadium. 326,000 people back in 1956, and almost 675,000 people today. Over a 50% increase. More remarkable is Ottawa County. Look at Hudsonville, where there was just tremendous damage back in 1956 from the F5 tornado. Just 2.4 thousand people. Now almost 8,000 people. That's almost a 70% increase. And Ottawa County, the fastest growing county anywhere in the state of Michigan, back in 1956, hard to believe, only 87,000 people. A 72% increase, 307,000 people now, and continuing to grow. I'm saying all this because it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when we get another significant tornado here in the metropolitan areas of Grand Rapids, Holland, and Muskegon. We just want you to be vigilant and be aware and safe.
We have never seen a tornado as strong as the Hudsonville-Standale tornado in West Michigan since. But could we see one like it again? We have the answer after the break. Welcome back. After the tornado rolled through Standale, causing a path of devastation, it took aim at the Comstock Park area. In fact, if we look at where the path sliced through Comstock Park, it narrowly missed where LMCU Ballpark now stands today by just about a mile. It's in Comstock Park that the tornado claimed its final victim before continuing off to the northeast, gradually weakening. Now, if a storm like this were to happen today, the intensity of the winds would be the same. But questions remain, what would the impact be, especially with so many other factors changing?
On May 13, 2013, an EF5 tornado swept through Moore, Oklahoma, leaving behind a 14-mile path of destruction. 24 people lost their lives with over 200 injured. The storm caused approximately $2 billion in damage. This was one of the more recent and well-known EF5 tornadoes to touch down in the United States, the most recent being just last year in 2025 in Enderlin, North Dakota. That EF5 tornado ended a 12-year drought from the Moore, Oklahoma tornado in 2013. 3 other EF5 tornadoes touching down in 2011. EF5 or F5 tornadoes, not common by any means. There's only been 60 reported in 19 states, averaging less than 1 per year. Now, we did make that transition from the Fujita scale to the enhanced Fujita scale in 2007, and the wind thresholds have changed a bit. You'll notice an EF0 tornado on the F scale anywhere from 40 to 72 miles per hour, a little bit higher now, 65 to 85 miles per hour. But likely the most jarring difference you'll notice is all the way down to EF5 tornadoes. That is now just 200 mile per hour winds or greater. If you look at the F scale, that's anywhere from 261 miles per hour to over 300 miles per hour. So why did this system change? The Fujita scale was actually established in 1971, and in 2007, the enhanced Fujita scale took over. Essentially, this scale does a lot of things better, including matching damage to wind speeds. It didn't consider construction differences based on the original Fujita scale, and the new scale now uses damage indicators to help the National Weather Service survey the damage that comes after these storms. Now, despite the Fujita scale becoming the enhanced Fujita scale, one thing is clear. Winds greater than 200 miles per hour will cause catastrophic damage. Ottawa County Emergency Management says they are prepared for something like this to strike again and believe the warning would be much more apparent to their residents.
The first thing to know is that there's no way to stop a tornado. So regardless of 1956 or now, we're going to be severely impacted. Now we've got a really good relationship with the National Weather Service. I'm sure their radar and a lot of their science has come a long way since 1956. So we get some pretty early warning from them.
Now, one thing we didn't have back in 1956, Skywarn, or certified weather spotters. With hundreds of trained volunteers providing real-time reports, their observations help meteorologists and the public know if a tornado has officially touched down. And thanks to major advancements in technology, we have a much clearer, even street-level view of where a tornado is and the direction it's moving. But even with that precision, destruction is imminent. Meteorologist Scott Larson takes a closer look at how building codes and improve infrastructure has changed over the last 70 years.
Thanks, Sarah. The tornadoes from 70 years ago caused widespread devastation and destruction around West Michigan. But it begs the question, what if we had a tornado of similar strength to what happened in Standale go through modern construction?
The construction was there before, but it's still disturbed, and new construction, which I think it went through right through there.
Prior to the deadly tornadoes that damaged hundreds of homes in West Michigan on April 3, 1956, the suburbs around Grand Rapids were growing quickly. William Hordyke, deputy building official for the city of Grand Rapids, says veterans returning from World War II made for an eager and capable workforce.
Well, the housing boom fed into veterans needing jobs, fed into building houses quickly. And so, yeah, there was a lot of expansion of the area around Grand Rapids in that time.
It's often said they don't build them like they used to. And while some of the materials used at the time had greater weight and durability,
The older homes were built with old growth lumber, plaster walls, a lot more brick than we'd see today.
building codes in the state of Michigan at the time were a patchwork of local ordinances, with no unified building code adopted until 1963. There have been many advancements on the engineering side of fitting homes together in the past 70 years. Jeremy Horton is a construction management professor at Ferris State and says he's seen that evolution firsthand.
We just have a lot better connection systems. We have trusses now versus maybe rafters, and those trusses are connected to the frame better. We have a lot better window systems, and those window systems are able to resist the higher winds better, and that keeps the building envelope intact, and that kind of, when you keep that building envelope intact, it prevents that cascading collapse effect.
Homes today are built to be more resilient. They're required to be able to sustain winds up to 115 miles per hour, or similar to that of an EF2 tornado. Hurricane ties are also utilized now, which help combat uplift and secure the roof to the structure.
Massive amounts of construction.
Hordyke says decades of case studies help to inform the better building practices that are now commonly implemented.
The codes are always a developing thing, and some people say that the codes are always written as a response to a tragedy. So much history of looking at subdivisions where a tornado went through and somehow this house stood and this house didn't in there. What was the difference in the two?
Even with the advancements made in modern construction, no structure is invincible, and warnings should always be taken seriously.
The pressures are just way too high for us to design to resist, and so your house is going to fail, and that's if you get hit by a tornado at that speed.
After passing through Comstock Park, the tornado continued to weaken, eventually lifting up in Montcalm County. But it's known for Hudsonville-Standale because, of course, that's where it had the biggest impact and the biggest loss of life. We'll be right back. No two tornadoes are ever the same, but history has a way of alerting us to what could happen again.
Less than 0.1% of tornadoes are EF5 in strength. And while evidence shows Tornado Alley is shifting east, there is not proof Michigan won't see another EF5 again someday.
The Union City tornado was the deadliest Michigan has seen since 1980. It's a sobering reminder that though most Michigan tornadoes are weak, a violent tornado could be just one storm away.
The Union City tornado happened fast. It is important to stay weather aware and have two ways to receive alerts. Never take cover in a car or mobile home. Plan ahead by taking some time now to think about the sturdy structures you could head to if weather takes a turn.
Scientists have been working for more than a decade on the next generation of tornado warnings. These new warnings would improve accuracy and provide minute-by-minute updates on intensity and track. Unfortunately, funding cuts have advancements on hold. The pause means there is no telling when the next generation of warnings will be available for use.
Whatever the outcome and whatever the weather, Storm Team 8 will be here to cut through the noise. When severe weather strikes, we will use the foundation of the past and the technology of today to keep you one step ahead of the storm.